Well, hello there. It's the 29th of January, and we have less than 24 hours for the release of the third episode of The Last of Us show on HBO. And guess what? I decided to continue with this series in which I comment on each episode. Well, here we are with the second episode. Um, I really like this first. I don't know if this will be a habit of the show, but for the first two episodes, they provided us with scenes in which they kind of build the world with the perspective of how what's the nature of the virus, how it is affecting this world, how people are going to react, etc. In that regard, I think the this part in the second episode was successful in terms of setting the tone of the both the episode and the show. Like I mean, since as the show has explained, uh, the there being no cure for this type of a virus. I mean, it's not even a virus; it's some sort of a fungal infection, I guess. And the solution being terminating the infected uh, gives like in this war we have no chance of winning. Like we are going to lose anyway, and the partial solutions are not pleasant. Well, in the following scene, I don't have much problems with the scene. I liked it in terms of um, seeing people in this post apocalyptic world going by their normal business. Ellie has to use a toilet here, and the whole world is a toilet. Um, Actually, I have one problem, and that's about the characterization of Ellie in this show. If you have watched my previous commentary, you will have an idea of where I'm getting at. I mean, they pictured a kid who performs as a kid. The video game Ellie is, although you get that she's a kid, you also get the feeling that she is hardened by this post-apocalyptic world, and she is behaving mature in ways you wouldn't expect her to behave. And however, in this show, I mean, when things are tense and people around her are tense, she makes this type of a joke as if she's turning into some sort of an infected. I mean, um this is of course subjective, but in my imagination, if Ellie was in this precise situation, she would not like make such gestures that would put the people who she's entrusted to off. That's my take on this. Anyway, um, this was an episode in which we got to see the world in broad perspectives, and I think that though these are all not real but pictures, still the production quality is, in my view, stunning. Though the the part they stand on is real, but the remaining part is a green screen, I still think that it doesn't look that fake, but has some sort of tastiness to it. While you're watching it, you certainly get pleasure, and this can be taken as a reference to the first scene. While someone is watching the show, they may wonder well, how the whole world turned into rubble, just since the infected are not like little hulks, smashing around, but just, you know, it's actually humans who turned the world into this pile of rubble while they were trying to fight this infection, which they cannot like really fight. Uh, this is another scene which made me admire the production quality. I took this screenshot because I don't know if this is the case with you guys, but in this scene, for some reason, I felt like I was watching Tom Holland. Bella Ramsey reminds me of Tom Holland that at some points. Again, only the road they're walking is real in this scene, and the remaining part is I don't know if we can call it CGI, but it's CGI. But still, since you're watching the show, you do not like pause and reflect on these visuals, but they just shift in a quick manner. You don't get to feel the artificiality they have to them. And even though right now I am looking at a still, I still don't get that much artificial vibes from this picture. I think it looks stunning. I like this CGI frog. Again, another scene in which I have some problem with. Uh, again, as I said, the like behaving like kid in this show is just transferred to me as performative. Though in the game, Ellie reflects on their surroundings in like light manners. They do not come across as like artificial, like forced in there. But for some reason, this scene, maybe the length of it, just did strike me as artificial. I felt too much like the Ellie here was trying to act like a kid, trying to appear like a kid. Maybe it would be better if the like sequence was shorter. It prolongs, I think, too much. In the following scene, we see some character development and relationship development between Ellie and Joel. And again, I think Ellie is kind of performative here. I mean, I'm not talking about Bella Ramsey. I'm talking about the character Ellie not coming across as sincere as she did in the video game. Like Joel is trying to make a small talk, and Ellie is being an ass in these scenes. They are not too weird. I mean, they are not so off-putting, but still, they kind of strike me as a bit raw. Yeah. Again, I like to commend the production quality. Also, this scene is also important in terms of world building. The infected here, as the show tells us, are somehow connected, since the fungus is developing also under the ground. They kind of feel the presence of each other even through long distances. This will become important in the end part of this episode. One thing like, let's think about it. Joel is physically touching the dried tentacle of fungal web, and I guess there is no risk of getting infected with physical touching, but you get infected only if they bite you, your fluids like connect, or also or if they kiss you. We'll come to that. In this specific scene, I really like the way Pedro Pascal acts out like Joel's intensity. Like um, the stakes are too high in this scene, and tension is also high. But this little fucking kid doesn't speak, doesn't fucking whisper, but speak kind of louder than she needs. I mean, um, I felt exactly the same as Pedro Pascal was acting out the feelings of Joel. I really like this scene. And um, one thing I didn't like was like Ellie is warned once to like to whisper, but she just goes on talking loud. I mean, not loud, but louder than she needs. And I mean, Ellie is not that stupid, guys. Come on. The whole sequence is, I think, will be one of my favorite sequences from the TV show. The whole episode is directed by Neil Druckmann, and I think this scene, the whole sequence with the clickers here, do a really good job at like capturing the tension of facing the infected in the show, how dangerous it is, how careful you need to be, and also like them not the clickers not being able to see but hear, and the tension arising from that. I really liked it. I think the tension in the game, they managed to transform it and transfer it to the screen really well. Also, again, the production quality is, as I said, amazing. I wonder how much money went into like creating these, and how much of it will be recovered by HBO. These are some stills capturing the action. I like this was also one of the like culmination points of the sequence where you like are totally absorbed in the atmosphere, and feel the exact tenderness of the situation and the tension felt by Joel. Reloading in the game was also a high tension action, so it's only fair. Again, production quality. This can be seen as a like the direct reference to the game. Towards the end part of the game, there was a scene in which we were controlling Ellie and trying to avoid these shattered glass. Also, if I remember correctly, throughout the game, there were parts in which you are trying to stay away from shattered glass while walking, so they do not like detect your position. The acting in the scene is brilliant. It never felt like acting to me. It felt just so real. I think Anna Tor did a really good job at uh, acting the Tess who did get bitten. When you look at her, I maybe it's because I already know that she's like bitten and infected, but you you kind of get the feeling that something more than, and so like it's not just her ankle that's it gives her pain at the moment. Like the problem is more than that. Again, the production quality. These scenes actually like feel more artificial than the previous ones, but still, while I was watching it, I enjoyed it nonetheless. This is, I think, this is the one which that feels the most artificial. The like background feels quite fake, but still, as I said, I enjoyed it nonetheless. I think the way Tess is pictured in these scenes after she got infected are accurate in terms of showing that she wants to score a like win before she's totally gone. She's not that tolerant, and she does things in haste. This is one of the heaviest scenes of both the game, and I think will be one of the heaviest scenes of the show. And again, we see fireflies not being so like they do not give you like much trust, you know. I I wouldn't, I don't think that I would confide in them. They don't look so successful in their endeavors. The dialogue in this scene is mostly faithful to the game. However, there are small changes, and I think that they are not good changes. Mm, I mean, like if they were to like use lines that are totally different from the game, I wouldn't be this nitpicky. But since they decided to stick to the exact lines from the game at some points and decided to divert from them at other points, I can't help but well, think on contemplate on what made them like divert in those parts. Joel says we're going home. Tess says that's not my fucking home. In the video game, it's a little bit different. When Joel, I'm not exactly sure about Joel's line, but Tess says something like, "This is my final station," and the viewer also gets the feeling that well then something must be wrong with her, and probably she is infected. However, in this version, like that's not my fucking home. Okay, you don't feel like you belong to this world, but that doesn't really give the feeling that she may have gotten infected. If Anna, like, it was not Anna Torv's brilliant performance that gave me the feelings like that something more than her ankle was in problematic at the moment. These lines would disturb me more, I think. Okay, this line kind of gives that feeling, but still, the reaction of Ellie did strike me as abrupt. Like, in the video game, she is positioned in a way that would enable her to like see the infection area of Tess, where she got bitten. But in the TV show, the, the she is not positioned in that sort of an angle. She can only make inferences from what she says, and from what she says, you can't really make out this meaning. Like she's how the fuck you know? I mean, calm down. Like if they were to stick to this like exact lines from the game, I wouldn't say that. Like when someone says that this is my final station, you would understand that they do not have a life ahead of them. This in the scene, like specific shot, we see that Tess is kind of the transformation of Tess has started. Her hands are trembling. I picked this screenshot because I felt that while I was watching this episode for the first time, I felt that the kissing scene with the zombie was forced, and I still have that feeling. I don't find it that disturbing, but while I was watching this episode, until that part, I was feeling that it was it was like a perfect episode for me. I really enjoyed it. However, that scene, it comes at a later part, but I will talk about it in the later part. Here, just keep in mind that she has lots of grenades and the floor full of gasoline. Again, I have problems with the way Ellie behaves. Like, in the video game, she's aware of the rules of this world. If someone gets infected, it's over for them. Like, she has gone through what she has gone through at the like in the course of events of the Left Behind DLC. Like she knows like the thing. Well, however, this fucking Ellie portrayed by, I guess, Craig Mazin, um, acts like too performative. Like, no, we can't leave her behind. I'm not going with yet. So, like, come on, man. Like, you know it's over for her. In the video game, her reaction is like much more low key, but much more striking. I think it feels sincere. She's like, oh man, like it's fucked. And I think that's mostly the success of Ashley Johnson. In on YouTube, there is a video called "When First Joel Meets Ellie" or something like that, where Troy Baker and Ashley Johnson talk about the like time when I forgot the guy's name. I just said it. Oh my god, the guy who plays Joel. Oh my god, was auditioning for Joel character and met Ashley Johnson the first time, etc. In that video, Ashley Johnson is being just herself, and I am sure that you will feel as if it's Ellie talking. Ellie has so much of Ashley Johnson in her, and Ashley Johnson has so much of Ellie in her, I think. And like in she is a tense person, but she's also down to earth and feels sincere. However, as I said, this scene kind of like is dangles there performatively. It doesn't live up to the grounded feeling of the show, in my opinion. Well, this fucking scene. I mean, the infected looks too conscious, in my opinion. Like, what are you like? And that helped tilt, like coming here to infect Tess by like kissing her. I mean, they wanted to have a scene. I guess they also talked about this in a podcast. I'm not 100% sure, but I am sure that the producers have talked about this. Maybe Neil Druckmann himself. They wanted to show that it doesn't have to be always so violent, but when you yield to the like infected, they kind of come peaceful at you and infect you and move on with their lives. Anyway, I don't see that with a clicker. If even if you were to like yield to them, they would still come like bite your ass. That's my opinion, and I am sure that's definitely the case. Anyway, here this fucking half infected, half runner motherfucker comes and they just kisses Test by to infect her. I mean, I don't think zombies should be that conscious of their surroundings. I would understand if like she gestured towards Tess and or went towards the infection area directly. I would understand that, but this feels forced. Like, why does he go directly to mouth? Like, does he have a consciousness of those like body parts? Does he intelligently picked that location? In my perception of them are more like primitive living beings. I think they would have an urge to go towards their target and maybe make their tentacles connect to them, but I do not think that they would directly go for the mouth. They would just go for any part of the body, and that's my opinion. Anyway, another reason why this scene feels forced is like that fucking lighter. Why does she insist on using that lighter which has the least bit of gas in it? Like, as I showed you, there are lots of grenades lying around. Just get one of them. Like, I don't know what do you call this, but do this. Hold it in your hand, and even if they attacked you or whatever happens, definitely you will open your hand intentionally or unintentionally, and everything will blow up. Why don't you just do that? Nine. This is why that scene felt forced. Anyway, I think the star of this episode was Pedro Pascal, and her his facial expressions, etc., were like rightly on spot for me. I really enjoyed watching him, and overall, this was, I think, a great episode. And I'm like, whenever I finish an episode of The Last of Us, I feel like I want more. If they had released the whole thing, I would watch it in a day or mostly 2 days. I am too eager. I even considered replaying the games, but I don't feel like I am ready for that kind of an emotional torture at the moment. Like especially, I am not ready for part two, but also I think part one would be like too much for me at the moment. But I'm not sure. Maybe I will start playing them. Anyway, this was it for this episode. I hope I will see you in the next one. Until then, take care.